Good morning students. Today we are going to discuss about the structure of monocot embryo. Structure of monocot embryo. Yes. So we know that so previous class we studied about the structure of dicot embryo or development of dicot embryo and structure. Embryo of the monocotyledons possess only one cotyledon. The embryo of the monocots possess only one cotyledon. In the gross family comes under monocots, we know that, right now. In the gross family, the cotyledon is called scutellum. See. So, in gross family, the cotyledon is called scutellum. But where this scutellum is present? The scutellum, right now, cotyledon is called scutellum, that is situated towards one end, that is lateral end. That is one end of the embryonal axis. In gross family, the cotyledon is called scutellum, that is situated towards one end, lateral side of the embryonal axis. At lower end, the embryonal axis, at where ma? At lower end, the embryonal axis has radical and root cap. At lower end, right now, the embryonal axis has radical and root cap. But this radical and root cap enclosed in undifferentiated sheath that is called coleorhiza. Which one ma? Undifferentiated sheath that is called coleorhiza. At lower end, the embryonal axis has radical and root cap. See, this is radical and this is the root cap. But this radical and root cap enclosed in, right ma, an undifferentiated sheath that is called coleorhiza. That is called coleorhiza. The portion of the embryonal axis above the level of attachment of the scutellum is called epicotyle. What is that? The portion of the embryonal axis above the level of attachment of the scutellum, that is called epicotyle. That is called which one ma? Epicotyle. The epicotyle has the short apex and few leaf primordias enclosed in a hollow foliar structure that is called coleoptile. See, so this is called coleoptile. That is called which one ma? Coleoptile. So the coleorhiza and the coleoptile. So this is the shoot apex. The shoot apex is also called plumule. But if you take the monocot embryo, in monocot embryo we may find out the rudimentary structure that is called epiblast. Sir, what is this epiblast? So this epiblast is also called as a second cotyledon. Second cotyledon, right ma'am? So the epiblast is also called second cotyledon. Where in where ma'am? Monocots. Where ma'am? In monocots. So the epiblast is also called second cotyledon. Now the next concept is seed. So we know that what is seed. So the next concept is seed. So my question, so what is seed? Right now, an angiosperm seed is the final product of the sexual reproduction. And moreover, it is a fertilized ovule. What is seed? Seed is a fertilized ovule, and in angiosperm it is the final product of sexual reproduction. In angiosperm it is the final product of the sexual reproduction. But seed is also called which one? Fertilized ovule. But where the seed is formed? The seed is formed inside the fruit. Where seed is formed? So seed is formed inside the fruits. But a typical seed mainly consists of which one ma? seed coats, cotyledons and embryo. A typical seed mainly consists of which one? Seed coats, right now cotyledons and embryonal axis. Yes, a typical seed mainly consists of seed coat, cotyledons and embryonal axis. Embryonal axis. So, seed coats. Right, the seed is covered and protected by one or two, so hard protective layers, those are called seed coats. Right now? Yes. So how many seed coats are there? 2 seed coats are there. What are those 2 seed coats? So outer seed coat and the second one is the inner seed coat. So outer seed coat is also called which one? Testa. And inner seed coat also called tegma. Right now, so these two are tough protective layers. Right now, yes. But in some members of the angiosperms, in addition to outer and inner seed coat, so outer seed coat and inner seed coat, the third integument is present. Right now, third protective layer, that is called aril. So third one, outer, inner, so 2 seed coats. But in addition to those two, another one is present, that is called aril. So, in the members of Litchi, right now, the third integument is present, that is called aril. Right now, so example, in which members we can find out this third integument in the form of aril. So right now, in the form of aril, in the members of Litchi, So this is so cotyledons. The cotyledons are the first leaves of the plant, and these cotyledons are right now so fleshy and they have abundant reserve materials and they are edible. Cotyledons are edible. And embryonal axis, you know that the embryonal axis. So embryonal axis mainly consists of 2, radicle and plumule. Radicle develop into shoot system and plumule develop into radical develop into root system and plumule develop into shoot system. Embryonal axis, how many more? 2. So what are those 2? One is radical and plumule. Right now, the radical develop into which one? Right now, radical develop into root system and plumule develop into shoot system. Clear? Right. So this is, but the seeds based on the presence and absence of the endosperm seeds are again 2 types. So endospermic seeds and the non-endospermic seeds. How many types, ma? 2 types. So based on which thing? Based on endosperm. Based on the presence and absence of the endosperm seeds are 2 types. So exalbuminous. Exalbuminous or right ma non-endospermic. Sir, what is this exalbuminous or non-endospermic? So the mature seeds do not contain endosperm because right now the endosperm is completely consumed by the developing embryo. Hence, in those seeds the endosperm is absent. Those are called non-endospermic seeds or exalbuminous. Example: B, groundnut, in these members, B in groundnut, right now. So in these members, endosperm is absent, hence those are called non-endospermic seeds. Based on the presence and absence of the, right ma'am? So endosperm, presence and absence. Based on the presence and absence of the endosperm in its seeds, seeds are two types. Exalbuminous. First one is exalbuminous or non-endospermic seeds. Already explained. Example for that. So bean and groundnut. So what about endospermic seeds? Endospermic or albuminous seeds. So endospermic or albuminous seeds. Sir, what are these endospermic or albuminous seeds? Yes. So the seeds contain some amount of the endosperm because the developing embryo not completely consumed the endosperm, or the endosperm is not completely consumed by the developing embryo, hence some amount or remnant of the endosperm is present in some seeds, hence those are called endospermic or albuminous seeds. Right ma'am? Example for this: rice, wheat, castor, etc. Right now, rice, wheat, castor, etc. In these members, endosperm is present. In these members, which one is present, ma'am? So, remnant of the endosperm or some amount of the endosperm is present due to, right, ma'am? So, why? What is the why? That means the endosperm is not completely utilized by the developing embryo, so that some amount of the endosperm is present in these seeds. Hence, those are called endospermic seeds or non-albuminous seeds. Example for that: rice, wheat, and castor. Now the next one is perispermic seeds. Perisperm. In some members of the seeds, the remnant of the nucellus is present, hence that is called perisperm, and those seeds are called perispermic seeds. Example for that: beets and pepper. So black grams, peppers or pepper. Right now, so beets and peppers in these members, right now, the remnant of the nucellus is present, hence those seeds are called perispermic seeds. Example: beets and peppers. So this is about the seed. But so in ovule we may study that the micropyle, right now. So the micropyle is developed into seed pore, right now. The seed pore is present in the seeds. What is the use of this seed pore? The seed pore is useful for exchange of the oxygen and water, right now, and it is helpful for the germination of the seed, or it is useful for germination of the seed. Clear now? Which one now? So seed pore. So micropyle develop into seed pore, and this seed pore is useful for, right ma'am, or this facilitate the exchange of the gases and right ma'am, so entry of the water into seed during germination. This is about the seed pore, right? So after fertilization, we know that the ovules mature into seed, ovary develop into ovules mature into seed, so ovary mature into fruit, ovules mature into seeds, right ma'am. But ovary walls, right now, so ovary walls develop into fruit walls. Another name for that fruit wall, that is called pericarp, right now. Based on the nature of pericarp, the fruits may be two types: fleshy, right now, fleshy fruits. If the nature of fruit wall or epicarp is smooth, those are called fleshy fruits. Can you give an example for fleshy fruits? Fleshy fruits. Example for this guava. Right now, so example for this guava, fleshy fruit. Right now, even so, not only guava, orange, mango. These are all example for what, ma? Fleshy fruits. Guava, orange, mango. If the pericarp is tough or dry, those fruits are called like dry fruits. Example for that fleshy or dry. Right now, so example for this groundnut. So example for this groundnut and mustard. Groundnut and mustard. In these members, so the pericarp is dry, right, ma'am? So if the pericarp is smooth, those are called fleshy fruits. Example for fleshy fruits: guava, orange, and mango. If the pericarp is dry, right now. So example for that groundnut and mustard. Clear? Right. But we know that so after fertilization, which one? Ovary develop into fruit, ovules develop into seed. Right now. So, but in most of the plants, the fruit develop from the ovary. Right now. So the fruit that develop from the ovary, those are called true fruits. And majority of the plants after fertilization ovary develop into fruit. If the fruit is developed from the ovary, those are called true fruits. Okay, but in some members of the plants, the fruits are developed from other than ovary. Those are called false fruits. I hope you are clear now. So, in some plants, the fruits are developed other than ovary, those are called false fruits. Right now, sir, other than ovary, that means they may develop other floral parts of the other floral parts. They may develop from the other floral parts of the flower, hence those are called false fruits. Example, if you take the apple develops from thalamus. Apple develops from where, ma? Thalamus. So what is the another name of the thalamus? Receptacle. Receptacle. And what is the another one more name? Torus. So apple develops from thalamus or receptacle or torus. And one more thing, cashew nut. Cashew nut. It is also false fruit. And strawberry. It also developed other than ovary. But one more thing, the false fruits always associate with true fruits. False fruits always associate with true fruits. Sir, how you can say that? So in apple, the edible part is the thalamus, but non-edible part, seed containing part is there, no? That is a true fruit, but edible fruit is a false fruit. That's what false fruits are always associated with true fruits. Sir, how? So for example, we know that So these are seeds. Right now. So in apple, right now, seeds. But this part, edible part is there now. This is thalamus. This is which one? Thalamus. So these are seeds. So what is the seed? Seeds, right? So this is the true fruit, right, man? So, but the thalamus is false fruit. That's what the false fruits are always associated with the true fruits. I hope you are clear. So, these are different types of fruits. So, false fruits and true fruits. False fruit and true fruits. Yes. But one more thing. Some of the fruits formed without fertilization. In some members of the plants, the fruits are formed without fertilization. Those fruits are called parthenocarpic fruits. Which one? Parthenocarpic. Sir, what is this parthenocarpy? The process of formation of the fruits without fertilization, that is called carpic fruits. That phenomena is called parthenocarpy, or the process of formation of fruits from unfertilized ovary. Right now, so unfertilized ovary, those are called parthenocarpic fruits, and that phenomena is called parthenocarpy. But this parthenocarpy may be induced or natural. So, sir, how it is induced? We are going to use some chemicals. What are those chemicals? Like auxins, gibberellins, etc., etc. So, what is the example for this parthenocarpic fruit? The banana is the best example. Banana. And some of the seedless grape. Seedless grapes. So these are examples for parthenocarpic fruits. Right now?